Hello, and here I'm showcasing my AP chat messaging system. It's using Nestjs. It's a nodejs framework with GraphQL um, and mongoose. So the chat messaging is using the subscription whereby the users could send other users real time, and at the same time only users that have been registered within that chat can see the other messages. If it's an unknown person, they cannot see the uh, messages. So this is a pre-generated mutation queries from generated from the code, um, and this is the app module, which is the main core of the system, combining all the modules, which is the user module, messages, chat, and authentication module. I'm using MongoDB as my database and GraphQL for the connection, as I mentioned. And for the development, I'm using Docker and Docker Compose to simplify the development. You could say. And later on, I would try to combine the backend API and the front end with the client, which will be React.js with TypeScript at a later date and deploy it in DigitalOcean. But for now, let's leave it as it is. This is the main CRUD operation of the users creating, registering, and deleting. So resolver is just acting like it's the graphical way of saying it's a controller. The messages is similar, chat and authentication is the part where every part where it's verifying if the user has logged in. It validates the email if the user has registered prior, and it gives as well what's it called, JWT token, which is standing for JSON Web Token, to the client, or for now it's to the API. It's giving the JWT token, so in order for the user to access some endpoints or some query mutation, they have to have the authorization JWT token. The guards is just checking the current user by taking the JWT, and auth guard is just decorated for some endpoints to check if their user exists. The core part of the system would be the messages, which was the most like I haven't gone to this is my first time using the subscription, the real time part, and I learned some parts from that subscription is using WebSockets under the hood, and it requires some adjustments when you're doing authentication. This, for example, is the authentication. Usually, when you're doing the authentication on JWT, you're required to put it in HTTP header. However, when it's a WebSocket link, okay, I'll show it. Uh, if it's a WebSocket, then GraphQL is using WebSocket subscription. It will be a different protocol. So I didn't read it before, and it required for me to figure it out in the hard way. I should have read the documentation prior to this. So I have to use the connection pair instead of the headers. So there's something called connection param, and then it could understand that there is an authentication token. Instead of you putting in a HTTP header which will show an error, you have to put in connection parameters. Um, this is the part where it's sending messages, but it will be sending messages only by a specific user. For example, you as a user is sending a message to a certain chat. The message will be created. Before that, it will be authenticated if you exist or not, if you are authenticated or not. If not, then you cannot send any messages. Then it will send to the specified chat. It will create, and then later on, what's it called? It will be uh, published to every user that is subscribed to that chat place. For example, if there are three people in that chat, so and you are the fourth person, the three people will be sent, or it will be published to that place. Yeah, your message, and we later on we will show. So I'll show the implementation using the Apollo servers. So let's refresh. So I already have some users in my database. This one and this one, and I have some chats as well. Like I have one chat and two users have subscribed. Um, and I think I have messages. So let's just for now let's just delete those messages. So to showcase the how the messages work. Okay, there's no messages anymore. Okay, let's go to the implementation part. Okay, create user, I already have one. Okay, login user, I already have one. And for each one, for example, the current user, I already put the authorization HTTP header. For now, this is not a subscription. This is just a normal HTTP request. So I'm just doing the HTTP headers and putting the token there, and then it will show me the current user of this one, which is Abdi. Find all is just checking all the messages, but for now there is no messages. To check all the messages, you have to have authentication. The main important part of this one is the receiving subscription messages and the another user receiving the messages and the sending messages. So for now, let's subscribe to that message. So for the client, for example, we subscribe. It will be different in the client, so you don't have to click. You have to initiate the WebSocket link. But for now, we click that link and then it will seek any messages or any new events happening within that message, the message added. So for example, in this one, the one we are authorizing has an email of, in the code I showed that there is a message added and then there will be a user.email. So that person will only read according to that email. So let's send a message. This one is another person with another auth JWT token. So I'll send it, and so it's Khalid who's sending, and then it's saying hello. So here on the receiving end, the person sees the message, and then we could see as well what chat it is according to what I requested here. So I could see, okay, the other person was Abdi and that person who sent is Khalid. So here the message, I could see that I received the message. I could send another one, it will be instantly receiving the message. So 1 second ago, as you noticed, you could see and then you could see who's the sender. Um, yeah, and as well, I could see the get chats and as well the messages sent by the user itself. Like I could say, okay, this is the person who sent. Like it's me, Khalid, that person who is checking his messages, so he could see only his messages. The interesting part of this one, the one it took me some time, was about the subscription, like I mentioned, and the typos I made, which is sometimes quite annoying. Um, like after 10 to 20 minutes, you would remember that you made a typo. Or in the authentication part, there was one. If someone is trying to do with JWT and Nestjs, don't mess up in this part, whereby it's requesting for the secret key or secret or key and JWT from request. If you just mess up one letter, it will give you no error, which is surprisingly weird because I'm using TypeScript and it should show me problems. But for now, okay, I'm not sure why it was not showing, but if you mess up with that, it will give a large error, a huge error. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, currently it's running on a Docker, um, using yeah, MongoDB, the MongoDB server, the Chat API server. Hmm, yeah, that's about it. I guess next time I might be able to. I will be doing the client, which is going to use React and TypeScript. Um, That's about it. Thank you very much for listening and take care.